Trump's federal agents are shooting peaceful protesters in Portland, Oregon. The slide to fascism is rolling along really rapidly. Check this out. Leave your comments, ding the bell, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. This is, extremely distressing, shall we say. And in fact, let me give you the little backstory. Back on June 26th, this is what, 3 weeks ago, Trump issued an executive order. And this was in response to, people tearing down statues without the authorization of local governments and defacing them and things like that. Now, these monuments to white supremacy, they aren't even monuments to Confederate soldiers. They're not monuments to the South. They're monuments to white supremacy, period, full stop. And in fact, most of them were put up during the explosions of the Klan that we had, in the 1890s, in the 19-teens, and in the 1960s. So, and early 70s. So Joan McCarter, writing over at Daily Kos, Trump issued an executive order on June 26 to protect federal property and monuments and to authorize the Department of Homeland Security to deploy officers from around the country and from at least a half a dozen different federal agencies and departments. They've converged on Portland as part of Trump's law and order campaign. A senior official in the Trump administration, quote, "Once we surged federal law enforcement officers to Portland, the agitators quickly got the message." Our police chief, Chris Davis, says this has complicated things for us because the police here are banned from using, violence, shooting people basically with the so-called rubber bullets and other impact munitions is, I think, a better way to call them because they're not rubber and they are bullets. But, among the officers, Joan writes, are the elite Border Patrol Tactical Team, a special operations unit that was based on the border with Mexico. The BORTAC team are, quote, highly trained, valuable, scarce resources. So they're protecting statues around the country. And by the way, these guys were deployed to Afghanistan and Iraq. These are serious warriors, killers. This was in front of the Mark Hatfield Federal Courthouse in downtown Portland on Saturday. A fellow by the name of Donovan LaBella, 26 years old. He's a regular at these protests. He stands there and holds up signs, sometimes uses a bullhorn. He is not violent, has never been violent. And the federal police, now the Portland police, they could use, I believe at the most they could use tear gas. They can no longer shoot munitions, at flashbangs. We had one person really seriously injured here, another rubber bullets. They can't use those things against protesters unless the police feel that their lives are in danger. But the feds, Trump's black shirts, came in here over the weekend and nearly killed this kid. The police, they threw a tear gas canister at him. He kicked it away with his feet. It lands halfway across the street. This is from Ryan Noyen's reporting in the local newspaper, The Oregonian. Police who appear to be federal officers throw a canister that lands at his feet, which he lightly tosses away from him. It lands and towards the officers. It lands partway across the street. A few seconds later, a firing sound can be heard, and the man collapses to the ground, dropping the speaker. The video shows no sign of aggressive provocation on the part of the protester, who appeared to be standing alone. The protester in the video is 26-year-old Donovan LaBella. Friends told OPB that LaBella was a regular and nonviolent presence at protests. His mother said his face and skull were fractured and that he finished facial reconstruction surgery early Sunday morning. He still has a tube in his skull to drain the blood, his mother Desiree LaBella said. He also has to have an MRI for vision problems in his left eye. The governor of this state, Kate Brown, said Trump's deployment of federal officers to Portland, quote, only serves to escalate tensions and will bring unnecessary violence and confrontation. She said this cycle of violence must end. She said the events of last night at the federal courthouse were the tragic and avoidable result of President Donald Trump for weeks continuing to push for force and violence in response to protests. And then you look at our commissioners, our city council essentially. Chloe Udele says the protester did not threaten anyone's safety. describing the shooting as reckless and inexcusable behavior. So he's not only a celebrity, but he now wants to be a celebrity for being a tough guy, right? For being a fascist. It's unfortunate, she says, this is our Portland Commissioner, Udele, if I'm mispronouncing, my apologies. It's unfortunate that Trump cares more about protecting monuments and buildings than he does people's lives and constitutional rights. Commissioner Joanne Hardesty condemns the federal troops' presence and demands that they withdraw. Commissioner Amanda Fritz, this is our city council, right? Said the person in charge of our country and federal law enforcement has shown utter contempt for human life. We should not be surprised he's fueling upheaval in Portland by sending in federal officers, knowing that the city council has no authority to control or expel them. Our Senator Ron Wyden said that this is like an occupying army. Our Senator Jeff Merkley said it raises serious concerns. Trump, a couple of days ago, talking to Chad Wolf, the head of Homeland Security of these federal police, said, quote, "You people are handling it very nicely.